If you're PCSing to Luke Air Force Base or even just thinking about moving to the West Valley, Phoenix, there are a few things about living here that can either set you up really well or cost you more than you expect. And most people don't realize it until after they've already made their decision. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what it's actually like living near Luke Air Force Base in 2026, including where people are moving, what it costs, and what I'd be thinking about if I were making that move right now. When most people look at Luke Air Force Base, they're really looking at the West Valley of the Phoenix metropolitan area, areas like Goodyear, Surprise, Buckeye, Avondale, and parts of Glendale. And on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. Newer homes, more space, and generally more affordability than other parts of the Phoenix Metroplex. But the reality is each of these areas feels very different day to day, and the decision you make here impacts your commute, your budget, and your long-term flexibility. So instead of just showing you homes, I want to help you think through how to choose the right area for your situation. Most military families relocating to Luke Air Force Base end up in a few key areas: Goodyear, Surprise, Avondale, and increasingly Buckeye. Goodyear tends to feel balanced. You've got established neighborhoods, newer communities, good access to shopping and restaurants, and a relatively manageable commute to base. Surprise has expanded outward with some parts just as close as Goodyear and others further out. Regardless, you'll typically get more house for your money, and it's grown a lot in terms of amenities over the last few years. Avondale is closer to Phoenix, but geographically situated similar to Goodyear. So if you're minimizing your commute and balancing more house for less money is a priority to you, this is often where people start looking. And Buckeye is where you'll see the most new construction, but it comes with longer drive times. While more and more is coming to the area in terms of shopping, dining, and amenities, it does have less built-out infrastructure for now. Luke Air Force Base addresses are Glendale, Arizona, but Luke sits in an arm of the city limits. There are communities off base on that arm and nearby, but the majority of Glendale will typically be a longer commute than other areas. There isn't one best area. It really depends on what you're prioritizing. Now, one of the biggest questions we get is, can I actually afford to buy here with my BAH? And the answer is yes. In many cases you can, but it depends heavily on where and how you approach it. Home prices, property taxes, insurance, and even HOA costs can vary quite a bit across these areas. So two homes that look similar online can create very different monthly outcomes. This is why we always tell clients, don't just look at price, look at total cost and your long-term flexibility. The other piece that people often underestimate is the commute. On a map, everything can look close, but depending on where you're coming from, traffic matters. Time of day and even base access points can make a noticeable difference in your daily routine. For some people, saving 10 to 15 minutes each way ends up being one of the biggest quality of life factors. Where we see people run into issues is when they make decisions too quickly based on just one factor, usually price or a specific home. They'll find something that looks like a great deal, but it doesn't align with their long-term plan, their timeline, or how long they expect to be here. And that's where you can end up feeling stuck later. At Calzico, the way we approach this with clients is, we're not just trying to find you a house that checks all your boxes. We're trying to put you in a position where you have maximum flexibility possible later. Whether that's selling, renting, or moving again, the decisions you make up front can either set you up for success later or create problems you didn't plan for. If you want a deeper breakdown of these areas, I've put together a full relocation guide on our site that walks through each city, price points, and what to expect in more detail. I'll link that below so you can use it as a reference as you're planning your move. As you start to think through your move to Luke Air Force Base, whether that's in the next few months or later this year, Calzico team is here to help you map out what makes the most sense for your situation. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.